Hi, everyone. I want to thank you all for joining us today. Today we're doing a Q&A with Professor Kathleen DeRose, who is the academic director for the NYU Stern MS and Fintech Program. Really excited to have you with us, Professor DeRose, and really looking forward to hearing your perspectives on fintech and the program. Just to give everyone an overview, so Professor DeRose is a clinical associate professor of finance at NYU Stern. She's also the director of the Fubon Center FinTech Initiative at Stern, and I'm sure she'll talk a little bit more about that in some of our conversation today. I'm going to kick off our event with just some questions to get the discussion started, and then you can feel free to use the Q&A feature in Zoom to submit any questions that you have that you'd like us to address during our session today. We'll try to get through all the questions. If you have any questions that are more specific to you and your background, and you're looking for more of a personal perspective from someone on the admissions team or the program team, feel free to reach out to our office, and we're happy to have some of those more one-on-one conversations, but feel free to submit more general questions today so that we can get through them for you. And just before we get started, I wanted to introduce myself as well. My name is Neha Singhal, and I'm the Assistant Dean for Admissions for our portfolio of executive degree programs at Stern, which includes the MS in Fintech program. So with that, let's get started. Kathleen, first question for you. Can you tell us a little bit more about your background, what you were working on before you joined Stern, and how you became interested in the fintech space?
Absolutely, Neha, and thanks so much again for hosting this, and a really warm welcome to everybody watching and listening. It's just great to meet you all virtually, and I look forward to seeing you in person as well. So thanks so much. And of course, I feel like a really lucky person, because not only do I get to teach here at Stern and also run all our fintech programs, I also have spent like almost 30 years in industry before coming to Stern. So just very excited to be that human tri-borough bridge that links industry and academia. And that's just such a fun role. And we're talking today about one of my favorite topics, which is the Masters in Fintech program, which brings many of these things together. So for those of you that haven't met me, I do teach here at Stern. I run the fintech program. And I also sit on some corporate boards, which help me stay commercially excited and alive, and bring a lot of also additional insights into the classroom. So very excited to be here and to build on all these years of work in financial technology, culminating here in this role at Stern.
Wonderful. So the MS in Fintech program at Stern, it's a relatively new program, and I know that you were involved since inception. So can you tell us a little bit about why Stern decided to launch this program, and what is the market need that we're trying to address?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have been pioneers in fintech education, and this is crazy. This sounds like history now, because it seems like so long ago that we started 8 or 10 years ago, but we were there, early and first, with a first class that covered, Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies before anybody had heard of them. So very exciting to be pioneers in fintech education. And from that launch pad, we've now taught, for example, over 2,000 students in just our foundational undergraduate fintech course. And we teach undergrads, MBAs, executives, and now master's students. So we have a very broad scope. We started very early. And in addition, we've been recognized for this capability. So NYU Stern has been a standout in fintech education, and some industry experts have cited that, pointing to the rankings that we have in US News and World Report, the Financial Times, and other credible sources that you probably already looked at when you have been looking for a fintech program. We're up there, and we're very proud that all the hard work of all the folks here in delivering really fantastic educational programs has been acknowledged by these external ratings. And I think, you actually asked me to talk about the market needs, so I didn't want to miss that question. So yes, so we really saw the need for, because of the rapid change in technology and financial services, the need for mid-career executives to stay up to speed. And that market need is quite large, because financial services and technologies are very large industries. But we thought through a one-year program, we could excite and interest folks who are perhaps in financial services thinking to get up to speed on technological change. You're focusing on your career, you're very busy, you're advancing, and it's hard to keep pace with everything that's moving forward in technology. At the same time, we thought, well, technology folks might want to get more domain expertise in financial services. Again, you're a technical expert, but maybe you don't know how bonds work or stocks work or something like that. So bringing these two together, this is quite an interesting and exciting target market, not just for us as a university, but also for you, because you're joining potentially a cohort that brings both these capabilities together. And this is just such a great combination because, of course, when you consider programs like this, it's who your peers will be. That's really, really important part of the whole experience.
And I really like how you touched on those two different aspects of the program, Kathleen, that industry domain knowledge of the fintech, of the financial services space, but then the more technical skills as well, and how the program brings those two different things together. And I know on the admission side, when we speak to prospective students who are looking at the program, that's really what makes the program unique, and that's why they're excited about the program.
Yeah, no, I think thanks for kind of summarizing that. That's great.
Great. So tell us a little bit more about the curriculum. As a student who is potentially looking at this program as the next step in their career, what are some of the core topics that are addressed across the program?
Yeah, so we're very much interested in kind of having a comprehensive and holistic overview of what's happening in fintech so that you leave the program really well equipped for whatever you're going to do next. And maybe just pointing to the success of that, our first cohort a couple of years ago, many of them went on to promotions, internal transfers, new opportunities. And so we see that as kind of evidence that the curriculum's working. So it is an accredited academic program, to be clear. And the program emphasizes the technological transformation of financial services across all 5 financial domains. So for example, what's happening in payments? How are markets electronifying? How does insurance get transformed by things like blockchain? So we cover all of the financial services major components. And then we also cover all of the enabling technologies. So modern enterprise is going to focus on when and how and if to use blockchain, how to operate a platform strategy, which is an important competitive consideration in modern businesses. And lastly, what's happening with AI and machine learning, which has become totally ubiquitous and part of everyday life. So 5 financial functions, 3 enabling technologies. And then we also want to bring to bear just all of the operational and business and ethical skills that you need to be a fintech leader. So we want to graduate fintech leaders, not only technically skilled people with the right domain knowledge, but also those that can lead these enterprises forward. So we hope that you graduate with that skill portfolio, and that's how the program is designed.
Great. One of the other unique aspects of the program is the modular structure of the program. So the way that our program is structured, it's a 1-year program, and you take in-person modules every couple of months at NYU Stern, and then at a rotating global location. And in between those modules, there's pre-module work and post-module work that kind of gets you ready for the next round of modules. Can you speak to some of the benefits of this modular structure, Kathleen?
Yes. So as you just mentioned, Neha, the program is designed for working professionals. So we understand you, and we also have extensive experience in executive education. We know what works. So modular means you can come and do the program and then go back to work and seamlessly integrate this into what's probably already a busy life. So we're excited by that structure. We found that design really works for people. In terms of other aspects of the design, coming to New York and to other destinations that we provide in this program is really important because these are fintech centers. And while nobody has a monopoly on innovation, it does tend to happen in places where capital and human capital and technology are concentrated. So it's very important that you benefit from actually the environment you're in here in New York, in addition to benefiting from our top-notch faculty, very excellent teachers and also scholars in their fields, and also just the environment and your peers. So we think that modular structure is very useful. It allows you to get to know people pretty well in a short amount of time, and it can deliver a degree that's accredited in just a year.
Great. So Professor DeRose, you've actually now seen multiple cohorts go through the program. You could kind of look back and describe the ideal candidate for the MS in Fintech program. What would that person look like?
Yes, so I think that's a great question. And for you to consider if you're in the audience thinking about this, how does this fit into your busy life? So ideal candidates are those who we want ambitious, capable folks looking to take that next jump in their career. We would like you to have some career experience. Just like with an MBA or any other advanced degree, it's good to get a few experiences under your belt before you pursue higher education. And we'd like you to come with either some financial background or a technology background. You do not have to have both because that's the point of the program. We do think it's a little tough if you've had neither. So the program is designed for advancing you in financial and technology careers and firms, and we think it's designed to do that. So we're very excited about this, this group of our target audience that we think can come together here and really benefit from the program.
And kind of on that same topic, how have you seen students utilize the skills that they've gained through the program to really optimize or drive their careers post-program?
Yeah, so one of the great things about being a professor is that your students stay in touch with you. And that's, for me, is very encouraging. I look for that. I hope that I'm doing a good job. And so that's one of my sources of feedback. I really appreciate when people stay in touch, but it does allow us to also formally track, how people are doing. And so we're very excited actually to see the performance of our first cohort as evidence that the program's working. Many of them have gotten promotions, moved to different areas within their firms that were exciting to them and maybe more fintech oriented, or just given us feedback that it's helped their everyday understanding of what's next. So we're really encouraged by what we see already.
That's great. And I've heard a lot of those stories from our alumni as well of really how the program and the skills and even the network that they've developed through the program has really helped them as they navigate the next step in their career or a challenge that they might be facing. Obviously the faculty become part of your network going through the program, but then you also have the peers in your cohort who represent different businesses, different areas in the fintech space, and that becomes a really valuable resource as well.
Yeah, I think it's worth pausing on that point, Neha, about just the broader NYU ecosystem that you're joining. So you're part of the NYU FinTech Rat Pack when you join this program, and it's more than just your class. So your class is very important. You're going to go through the fire together, but also it's everything we have to offer here, all the faculty, the amazing alumni network, and all your fellow students. So we're really proud of that, and we think from what people tell us, that's a really important part of the experience.
That actually takes me to my next question. So you are also the director of the FinTech Initiative at NYU's Fubon Center for Technology, Business, and Innovation. And I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about the role of the Fubon Center, what's the mission, and how MSFT students can leverage the resources there.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the many resources available to students, but we're very proud to run the Fubon Center as an interdisciplinary center focused on business and technology innovation. And the FinTech Initiative within that emphasizes curriculum development, events, and research. So it's a very rich mine for students to partake in. In fact, we're doing our annual FinTech conference just in a few weeks. It's on Friday, February 28th. And it's a virtual conference. We have a collection of fantastic speakers, always in some cutting edge topics. And most of our events are free. And so as being part of this community, you can join in on this and many of the other offerings that are made available to you as a student.
That's great. And for those conferences, are those open just to NYU alumni, or is that open to everyone?
So we actually, it's quite important to us to reach a large global audience with our events, because again, we would like to expand our ecosystem because this benefits our students. And it enhances the value of both the student experience and also the faculty and alumni experience. So these events are open. You do have to sign up. But they are open and by design because we end up connecting with folks really all around the world through these events.
Okay, that's great to know, and great for our attendees to know as well that that's something that they can participate in.
Yes.
Wonderful. So I know we have some questions coming in through the Q&A. I was going to switch over to some of those. The first question that came in is about the criteria used to evaluate applications for the program. So I'm happy to walk through some of the details for that. So currently we're accepting applications for our MS in Fintech class that will be starting this May. Our final deadline for that May class is March 15th. We have a rolling admission cycle, which means that we're continuously accepting and reviewing completed applications. So if you have an application that's ready before March 15th, you can feel free to submit that. And that just means that we'll start reviewing your application materials earlier. But you can, of course, wait until that final deadline of March 15th and still, if you are admitted and enrolled, you have plenty of time to prepare for the start of the program. In terms of the admissions criteria, we're looking at three main factors when we are reviewing applications. The first is your professional background and skill set and whether that's the right fit for the program. So as Kathleen mentioned, although the FinTech program itself focuses on developing the technical skills as well as the domain knowledge of the financial services space, we're not necessarily looking for both of those aspects in applications or in candidates coming in, but we are looking for one of those two. So either that domain knowledge or experience in the financial services space, or some of that more technical knowledge coming into the program that you can then build upon by developing that domain knowledge. So that's the first piece. We're also looking at what your future goals are after the program and how those align with the program. This program is really designed for individuals who are passionate about the fintech space. So we're looking for your career goals to align with that vision for yourself and that mission for our program. The next piece that we're looking for is academic preparedness for the program. So we are looking at your past coursework that you've completed, whether it was an undergrad or any advanced degrees that you've earned. We're also looking at the professional roles that you've had and how those would prepare you for a rigorous program like the MS in Fintech program. So that's the second piece. And then the last piece is just overall fit with the program. The program is collaborative. You're in a small cohort where you are really working together to share different perspectives and knowledge and have discussions with each other to really delve into some of these topics. And so we're looking for individuals who come in open to learning from others, but also really open to taking the time to share their perspectives with the class as well. So those are kind of three criteria that we're looking for. In terms of the admissions requirements, you'll see those all outlined on our website. We have a full application process, which includes essays, letters of recommendation, transcripts from any institution that you've earned a degree, and all of those are outlined on our website. Wonderful. The next question that we have is, how does the MS in Fintech program, how can it help someone get into the Fintech space if they don't have a background in that space? And I know, Kathleen, you've probably heard from some of our alumni who have been able to make that move into Fintech. How do they achieve that? Or how do you see people really succeed in terms of getting that Fintech role?
Yeah, no, I think it's a great question. And look, the program's really well designed to get you there in terms of the academic content, the other NYU ecosystem content. So we know we can deliver fantastic programs because we're an accredited university, and this is our business really to design effective programs. In terms of what it takes from you, and I think that's the thing, you have to sort of look into your heart and soul and say, do I have the passion to spend a year working really hard with a bunch of other smart people to obtain this degree? And so part of this program is also what you bring to it. And so we very much encourage you to think hard about that. That said, the evidence we have is that people are graduating into fintech careers and successfully, maneuvering within their own firm to improve and advance themselves. So we're very excited about the impact that it has, and we know we can get people there because we've seen it.
Great. And I would say also network is such an important piece of that as well. You'd mentioned that after going through this program, you're part of course, the FinTech alumni network. You have access to amazing faculty and thought leaders in the space where you can share ideas and kind of what your goals are after the program. And then you're also a member of the entire NYU Stern alumni group as a whole. So it's any alumni who graduated through any of our programs. And we find that when students are, they want to learn more about a particular company or a role, there's usually an alum from Stern who has been there or done that. And so that's also a great resource in terms of getting more information about a role that you might be targeting in the future.
Yeah, I think also there's just tremendous value you bring to your current employer, depending on what you're doing, because your knowledge will become advanced across all these competitive forces that are affecting your business. So if you're coming from either technology or financial services, you're going back as a stronger, talent. And this has, great value even in the seat you're sitting in and climbing that ladder in your own organization.
Yeah, great. So another question that came in is about this program and having goals of maybe launching a fintech startup going forward. Can you share how some of the skill sets that you get through the program might help with that?
Absolutely. So fintech by definition needs to have three perspectives: the role of the incumbent institution, financial technology, the role of the investor, and the role of the entrepreneur. So a critical part of that is teaching you skills if you want to be an entrepreneur, how to identify what's truly, innovation, what's true innovation, what's truly disruptive innovation, how to structure that, the kinds of questions you might get from an investor. So that whole part of the program, we have a whole kind of module focused on learning from fintech startups, involving case studies that we've written that are proprietary to the program that really teach you how to think about that. Now, we're not like an entrepreneurship program, just to be clear, because other universities do provide that kind of thing. But that said, it is an important part of the innovation in fintech to understand how technological change happens. And this is one of those vectors that drives it, is entrepreneurial initiative. So you will absolutely get that in this program.
That's great. So another question that we had come in was around the modular structure of the program and how that works. So I'm just going to cover it, just cover an overview of it, and hopefully this answers the question. So the way that the program is broken out is that it's broken out into 7 modules that take place over the course of the year. The program starts in May and it ends in May the following year. The first module is a 1-week module that takes place in New York. It is an in-person module that takes place at NYU Stern. The second module is an online module, which we have running in August. So we do have 1 online module in the program. Modules 3 and 4 also take place in New York, and they're held October and December. Module 5 then takes place at a global location, which is London, for this next class. So you'll be in London in February for the program. And then modules 6 and 7 are back in New York. Module 6 is also about a week. It's a 4-day module in April. And then module 7 is your capstone module. So it's where you present your capstone work, and it's the last piece of the program. So hopefully that gives you an overview of how the program is structured. One question that we often get, Kathleen, is around the capstone in the program.
You read my mind, because we should mention that. Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about how the capstone project works?
Yes. So this is a key part of the program, and it also kind of picks up on the earlier question around entrepreneurship. So part of your deliverable in the program is to work together in a team on a business idea or a research project. And what this allows you to do is, within the program itself, apply your newfound knowledge. So we found this is an excellent way to really test whether or not you're adapting to some of these things we're teaching you, and also allows you to deliver what in some cases can become a new business idea, either something you're going to take back to your firm, or something that you might try to fund and launch. And so students find this really valuable. It's a tremendous experience with your peers. And the final presentation is usually in front of an audience composed of experts in your field that will give you concrete feedback about this idea. So the capstone thread runs through the whole program and is a critical part of the design.
And Kathleen, how are those capstone ideas sourced? Do they come from companies? Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So you can source your capstone idea from anywhere you like. And the typical pattern is, somebody has a fantastic business idea and they want to chase it down. So that's one source of ideas. You can also choose to, analyze a particular industry trend. So for example, we had somebody, analyze the inclusion of alternatives in portfolios and how that would work in an automated setting. So there's kind of known industry problems that you'll encounter, and you could kind of work on those as a project. So the ideas can come from all over. I should mention, though, that you're guided through this whole process by an advisor from the faculty who's assigned to you to give you like everyday feedback as you're going along through the program. And we also have a capstone sponsor in the program who does kind of tend to you along the way as well and help you through the process to land it at the end. So it's very well resourced to kind of get you to the finish line, and it's a great experience for everyone.
That's great. And how big are the capstone teams usually?
Yeah, so we benefit from the learning that I'm sure you guys have all heard about, which is, how big should a team be? And generally the teams are, 4 to 6 people. If they get too big, it becomes unwieldy. If they're too small, it's a burden on some of the individuals. So we try to keep it in that range just to make sure it's effective for everyone.
Great. We had a few other questions come in. Some of these are more admissions related, so I'll take some of these. The first is around, is there a minimum GPA requirement for our program? So there is not. One of the great things about our program is that we have your undergraduate and graduate experiences to look at in terms of academic preparedness for the program, but we also have your work experience to look at as well. And we really look at a combination of those factors to determine if someone is academically ready for the program. So that's why we don't have a minimum GPA that you need to apply. We are looking at that piece, and we are looking for solid grades through those educational experiences, but we're also looking at the roles and responsibilities that you've had since graduating undergrad and how that lends to the program and the learnings. There's another question about GMAT scores. We do not require GMAT scores for our admissions process. Again, the main reason for that is that this is a program for working professionals. So we are looking at your academic background, which we can gauge through the transcripts that you submit. But more importantly, we're also looking at your professional experiences and how those set you up for success in the program. And so a GMAT, GRE, executive assessment test score is not something that we're looking for in the admissions process. And then there's another question that came in about scholarships for the program. We do have a limited number of scholarships for the program. We have a few. They usually range in the $5,000 range. So they're significant in that they help cover costs for the program, but we don't have any half tuition or full tuition scholarships for the program. You are considered for a scholarship at the time that you apply. So if you are admitted and receive a scholarship, you would get both of those decisions at the same time. So that you can plan accordingly. But again, our scholarships are quite limited. So students who are considering the program should start thinking about financing options for the program if it is something that they're interested in moving forward with. Great.
Yeah, maybe we should just quickly compare it with some kind of other alternative programs. So if you're thinking about, an MBA or whatever, I think there's some pros and cons there that folks might want to consider. And
Yeah,
I think one of the big advantages that, especially if you're a working professional, is that it's 1 year, while still being an accredited degree program. So it's actually hard to find short programs that still meet, New York State standards for a degree program. And I think that's quite important. Like the credential you're getting, it's not a certificate, it's an actual degree. You can put master's after your name. And I think that's actually critical to the credibility of the program. The value that you're creating here by getting this degree is really meaningful.
Yes, for sure. And I think, adding to that value is that complete the program in a year and you can still continue working full-time while you're going through the program as well. So not just are you building the educational credentials to drive your career, but you're also building on your experiences and continuing to, work on new projects, have new achievements, hopefully take on bigger leadership roles, all while you're moving forward with the program as well.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think there's a really good feedback loop there because while it's challenging to juggle, let's acknowledge that. At the same time, it speaks really highly, I think, of both your firm and of you to do both at once and to continue to advance yourself and make you not only yourself more valuable, but your firm and whatever else you're doing more valuable.
Yeah, sure. So I know we're getting close to time, so I wanted to end on this question, which I think will hopefully help all of our attendees today who are considering moving forward with the program. If you could give one piece of advice to someone who is looking at the MS and FinTech program at Stern, what would that be?
I think that's a great question, and we've touched on like so many topics here, but I think the takeaway for you all in the audience is, I think it's pretty clear that we have an absolutely fantastic program. It's well designed, it's well implemented, and NYU is a great institution and ecosystem. But I think the most important thing is actually what you bring to it. So coming into the program with that attitude of passion and collaboration is absolutely critical to your success. And so we really want to invite you into that equation. We know it's a great program, and we just are so excited about folks who want to join us and, in this journey and bring that passion to it. So that's the most important thing I think to consider.
Great, that's wonderful. And that's a piece that we're looking for in the admissions process as well, is really that passion for the fintech space, really having that drive to learn and invest in the program, because I think the program is very much what you put into it is what you get out of it. So really coming in with that mindset to invest in the experience.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Great, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Professor DeRose. It was great to get your insights on the program, the fintech space, and what some of our applicants should be thinking about as they're thinking about this program. So I really appreciate you making the time. To all of our attendees, if you do have any specific questions or if anything comes up that we weren't able to answer today, feel free to reach out to our admissions team for the MS and FinTech program. Our contact information is on our website, so feel free to give us a call or send us an email, and we're happy to answer any questions in those ways. So thank you again for joining us, and I hope you have a great week.
Thank you so much. Really enjoyed spending time with you. Thank you so much. See you soon.
Bye.